We're back.
It's your mom, friends. I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Jess, and we are two moms passionate about helping women fuel their minds, care for themselves, strengthen their relationships, and create lives they truly love.
Each week, we bring you honest conversations, practical tools, inspiring stories, and real-life strategies to help you navigate motherhood, marriage, personal growth, and everything in between.
Whether you're listening while folding laundry, sitting in the school pickup line, or finally enjoying a few quiet minutes to yourself, we're so glad you're here.
So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's dive in to today's episode.
Let's get started. We've been so blessed with guests these last few, it feels like a couple months. And today is no difference. We are so excited to have Tiani with us. She is the Wild Hypno Lady. Thank you for being here. Would you take it away? Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Man, I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me. Thanks for chatting with me today and allowing all of us moms to really just be together, uplift each other and stuff. Like, that's my jam. That's what I'm here for. I live for it. So I just appreciate you guys having this platform. So thank you to Jess. Thank you to Chrissy. Thank you guys both for creating such an incredible community that you guys have built. So thank you, first of all. Gotta throw the thanks back to you. And yeah, so I'm Tiani Perkins. I am also known as the Wild Hypno Lady. I am a licensed hypnotherapist, and I pretty much call myself like an abundance specialist, subconscious mind specialist when it comes to money blocks. That is essentially my jam. That's what I do. I help women entrepreneurs. Usually that's like my specialty, my niche. So oftentimes they are moms who are running their own business, whether that's full-time or part-time, they're running their business. And I help them with the internal blocks that start to show up as we start scaling our business. We start off like, yeah, I'm going to have this amazing business, and it's going to be like time freedom and financial freedom and generational wealth. And we, get all excited. And then like life does its thing and business does its thing. And then we run into roadblocks, and then we question our whole lives. And we're like, what was I ever thinking? Why did I try this? Who am I to do this? Right? And we start like really sabotaging ourselves sometimes, because the journey of entrepreneurship can really test us as humans. And so my job is to help you with those internal blocks and helping us to claim that next level of abundance and ease and flow. So that's what I do.
That's amazing.
Awesome. And you're a mom too, right, Tiani?
Yeah. Yep. I am a mom of 6. So we've got the 6 kids from 11. Our oldest is 11 down. Yeah. You kind of stair steps all the way down to 1. Our youngest is 1 year old. And they all homeschool. Awesome. Homeschooling mom. Yeah. That too.
So you have a lot going on,
to say the least. Yeah.
The first thing I wrote down was like, your personality is just like, it's literally emerging through the computer screen. Like, I want to be around you, and I just met you because you're just electrifying. Like, your smile is this like, just, you brighten up this entire podcast, like in the 3 minutes that we've been recording in together. Like, I love you. I love your personality, and I want you to know this. So I want the listeners to go find you. We're going to link all of your information in the show notes. Like, go surround yourself with this woman, because just in the short time, like, you just bring such an energy. Your personality is electrifying and just gravitating, and that's amazing. So I can only assume that in the work that you do, like, this is just a staple of how much, like, the abundance of joy that you emit, like, is incredible. Yeah, you're amazing.
That means so much to me. I so appreciate it.
You're going to have to come back and do this again with us, because we can't just do one and done with you.
No. We got more to leave on the table here.
We got more to do. I think that the topic of money brings up a lot of emotions for a lot of people, business owners or not. Whatever phase of life you're in, money is a part of it. And whether you're, Chrissy and I have talked before about different phases of life where single mom, working two jobs, like trying to robbing Peter to pay Paul, like going through these struggles of life, then like no matter where you are, money is just a part of it. And, there were periods of time where like we were ingrained in different beliefs about money. And I know personally, like the way I was raised, and I have deep rooted struggles with money because, like anybody remember, like money is the root of all evil. And so I find myself stuck between like, not wanting too much because is that selfish? And does that become, is that negative? Will
Greedy?
that bring,
Yeah.
am I greedy? Am I selfish for wanting more?
Right.
And so this is whether you're a business owner or not, like money can become a serious, I don't want to say like issue, but it can be a driving force between, and I'm somebody who works with relationships. Money is one of the number one things people talk to me about when it comes to in between their relationships. And so,
Yeah.
I see this a lot. And I think that the work that you're doing is amazing. Can you talk a little bit about, where that root comes from, maybe about the with the issues that you see?
Girl, thank you for asking me that. So that was actually a really, really, really great question. So what you just described, I love that because it is true. A lot of us have to rewrite. Sorry, I was stuck between rewire and rewrite our relationship and the way that we see money in general. And a lot of us do struggle with certain beliefs about money, like it is the root of all evil, and or it's hard to come by. Like it's hard to, like money doesn't grow on trees. So like that belief that you have to work yourself into the ground in order to get it. If I were to be 1000% honest, however, I will say, and this is something that I teach my clients, this is a lot of the subconscious work that I do, and I do lots of workshops on these things. That is just one element that when it comes to money in our relationship with money, oftentimes the reasons why we have a strained relationship with money actually have very little to do with money itself or like the beliefs we have about money. And so I tend to teach that there are 3 levels of beliefs or 3 levels of relationship. And all 3 of these have to kind of be in resonance and an alignment if we're going to really have an abundance of like a loving and trusting relationship in terms of abundance. So the first level is beliefs about self. Oftentimes we believe that it's not available for us, like just in general, it being good things. So, that's another thing. I talk about a lot of times that money is really just a symbol for the good things, safety, security, fun, joy, happiness, worthiness, like good, just all the good stuff. That's the symbol that money tends to represent for us. Mm-hmm. So it really doesn't matter your relationship with money. I have a client, I just did a testimonial with her. She had an amazing, like she's just night and day from when she started working with me. And she came in and she was like, everybody talks about like heal your relationship with money and all these things. And just like, I didn't have that problem. Like I was fed on like a silver spoon. I grew up like money was never an issue for us. So I never had that problem. Right. And so she was confused. How did she get here? Like, how did she get to the place where she has to work with somebody on money stuff? Right. But oftentimes it's the 3 different levels. So beliefs about self is the first one. This is going to be, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm bad with money. I don't deserve good things. I made a mistake in the past. Like it doesn't have to be about money. It could be anything. Like if you ever did anything wrong in your mind, you don't deserve the good things in life now. Like, and you haven't forgiven yourself. This could be, I didn't finish college and I dropped out. Therefore, I'm going to forever struggle. Like it could be random things, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with money per se. So those are beliefs about self. Now, beliefs about others is a sneaky, sneaky, sneaky one that nobody ever freaking talks about. Beliefs about others or feelings about others. This could be things like how you feel about others or how you perceive others to feel about you. So this is a hard one for a lot of people, but I feel like a lot of our issues with money come from this because technically money comes from other people. There's no way to get money without it coming from somewhere else. It has to come from somebody else. A lot of times if we've experienced betrayal, we don't trust money. But it's not the money we don't trust. It's the people attached to the money, the person who's bringing us the money. So for instance, I had like women who have had abusive relationships or toxic relationship, oftentimes, whether the person held money over their head or not, doesn't matter. Like I mean, it does matter. It matters, but not in regards to like the outcome. Sometimes it could be that he held the money over her head. Like, oh, well, without me, you would be homeless, right? Well, now she attaches receiving money with a level of shame. As long as you can't receive money because I feel shameful. I feel like I couldn't do this without this person. Well, technically nobody could receive money without the other person in general, but there's a level of shame that's attached to that aspect of things. If we have had parents, for instance, parents who will hold that thing over you forever. I remember you said this and then you still haven't paid me back from blah, blah, blah time when this and this. And oh, you need some more money again. And it's like, okay, thanks. I thought you were here to help me. you know?
Mhm.
And it's the shame again, right? Or for instance, some of my clients have had, because most of my clients are business owners, one of the ladies, she helps women. She had been most scorned by the women in her life. The people who had scorned her the most in life were her best friends, and they were all women or sisters or siblings or whatever. And they were the ones who stabbed her in the back. Well, there was a piece of her that didn't trust the very people she's trying to help, essentially. So naturally, she's not going to make money that way. And so oftentimes our beliefs about other people and our relationship with other people is a huge, it's usually trust. It's a trust issue most of the time, or trusting that they see us as valuable. This is the perception that they have about us. I was saying maybe we think they don't value me or what I bring. I think is valuable, but other people don't see this as valuable. How we see other people's perception of us. It's like a whole weird thing. But like, I see you, see me, see you. But it's like that. And then the last one is the beliefs about life. So last level, so first self, others, now life. How life works in general, how the world works in general, how God or universe or source or whatever you would call it works in general. It's not particular to Chrissy or Jess or Tiani, just in general, that's how it works. And this is what you were saying, Jess. It's a lot of the, am I being greedy for, technically I have enough. Technically, am I being greedy? Are these first world problems? Like, what is wrong with me? Why do I even need more? Am I being grateful, ungrateful? Those types of feelings. The other shoe is waiting to drop. Huge, 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 huge one. I can't even like articulate how big the other shoe waiting to drop is. Like, it is probably the biggest blocker in general, but it's not particular to anybody in particular. A lot of times it's just how we think that's how life works, or at least it works for us maybe. But like, we believe, well, yeah, good things will come, but they don't last. And then they get ripped from underneath your feet. And so we struggle to allow the good things to come in our life, because I'd rather just stay down here than get my hopes up, build this really amazing life, and then have it come smashing down. I'd much rather just chill right here. At least I can handle that. Then I can't fall because I'm already pretty low. And so boom. That's a huge one. Success comes at a trade-off. You can't have it all. You can have love. You can have the time with your family, but you can't have the money, and vice versa. If you get the money, I mean, the only way you got the money is because you got to sacrifice all the time with your kids. My mom told me that when I was pregnant with my oldest daughter. And I was pregnant with her, she said, because I was like literally not working. I was just like, I'm not working. I didn't have a plan. I was just like on food stamps. I had the Medicaid and I had everything. I was feeling good. I was like, perfect. Government's taking care of us. We're good. I was like perfectly fine. And she told me, you need to go get a job. You need to leave the baby with a babysitter, find a babysitter for her, and you need to go and get a job because you need to provide for her. And I was like, well, she's provided for. She has shelter. She has food. She has health insurance. Like, she has everything she needs. And she told me, well, because she was like, you need a babysitter. But the baby was like weeks old. She couldn't hold her head up. I was like, I can't leave this baby. I can't. I didn't want to do it. I couldn't do it. I was like, no, I can't leave her. I can't leave her with a stranger. She told me, well, you had a baby. You don't get the luxury of bonding with her. Those were her exact words. Her exact words were, you chose to have this baby. You don't get the luxury of just bonding with her all day. And I was like, that's not a luxury. That's my responsibility. It's the only job I have as a mom, is to bond with my child. Like, there's no other job. But she didn't think that in her mind, that, you could have success or you can have time with your family. Like, that, those don't go together. That's literally how she saw it. So these are the 3 levels of beliefs, and very, very rarely do they have to do with money in general. Money tends to represent all the goodness of life. And so if we don't believe we can have the goodness of life, then no, we're not going to trust that we can have good money either.
Yeah, it's so much of what you just said. I keep going back to like a lot of the people I've worked with throughout the years and the way that they were raised or what they saw from their parents is what they're bringing into their adult. But they don't even know what abundance is or what it means. Like,
Yeah.
what is that? It's like I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I'm literally, a car repair away from, not being able to get to work. Or it's so how do you work through some of those barriers? Because I know you're working with businesswomen, right? And people who really want to break through those limiting beliefs. I'm thinking of like just, your
average person working a 9 to 5 doing her thing. Yeah, for sure. I got you. Okay. So one of the things that, and I didn't used to have this is very recent that I actually added this to my entire program and what I offer. Originally, what I did was I helped with those internal blocks, the beliefs that the other shoe is waiting to drop, and the beliefs that I can't really trust others, or there's always strings attached to money and stuff like that. Like, it's wrong to ask for help. All those things. I used to bust through those blocks with my girls, and that was really super duper powerful. Those are helpful. What I realized was just what you just said. A lot of us don't even know what abundance is. So what would happen is I would go in, we'd do the subconscious rewiring or releasing the old stories. But if my brain doesn't believe that, what does it believe? Okay.
Exactly.
So like what is it? Then what do I hold on to? Because you said that's not necessarily doesn't need to be my truth. How else does the world work? Like, how does this work then? And that was where a lot of my people were getting stuck. This past winter in 2025, the winter time, I got knocked on my booty by like my body. Okay. And I got like vitamin D deficiency and I didn't realize what was going on at the time because I also used to have hypothyroidism. So I thought it was just hypothyroid. I was breastfeeding one of the babies. I just gave birth to a baby and I was breastfeeding. It was a lot. It was like 2 back-to-back kids. My body was just like, we're done. So I couldn't do very much of anything. Like I was like not taking any new clients. I was on the couch, like plastered to the couch. I was so exhausted. During this time of me laying on that couch, it was like I had a divine download. I couldn't do anything else. Like my body wasn't working, but my brain was trying to do something. It was like, well, let's do something with ourselves. And so it's just like in a creative mode. And I received this huge download and I now is now my entire framework. And it's part of the introduction that you guys are probably going to attach to this. It's called Energy Economics Leadership Framework. And what it does is it breaks down the 4 truths of life and the 8 governing laws of abundance and expansion. So they're actually governing laws of how life actually works. And there's a reason why a lot of us are struggling because we're moving against the flow of life. And so when we talk about like, well, what is abundance? What I don't teach is it's high vibration and you just gotta like visualize and you just gotta like be the one who. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Trust me, if I could be the one who was a millionaire, I'd be one who was a millionaire. I would. So I promise you, I'd do that.
Give me the checklist. I'll do it.
I'll do it. I will visualize and be in that moment. I promise I will. I clearly don't know how to do that. And so what this does is it breaks down. It tells us how life is actually oriented. And a lot of the stuff is actually backwards compared to what we have learned. And it's the reason why we see the rich moving the way that the rich move. Most of the or wealthy, maybe I'll call it wealthy. I think there's a difference between rich and wealthy. I feel like new money is different than like older money. And those who like hustled their way to money, they move a little differently than those who know they have money and it's not going anywhere. There's a slight difference, but those who have money and know it's not going anywhere, they move with groundedness and certainty. They're not rushing. They're not hustling, bustling. They be chilling. They're like, oh, it's cool. It's good. It's all good. Like, no worries. Like they don't have a worry in the world, which is, it seems like it's easy. It's like, well, it's easy for them to feel that way because they got money. No, not necessarily. That's not the reason why. I actually think that ease and flow that they're holding on to is actually the reason why they're able to continue to make more money. Obviously, they don't have as many struggles as a lot of us growing up and stuff. But at the same time, there are many people who started from the struggle bus and got themselves there. And it came from a new orientation with life. They couldn't approach life the same way they had been approaching it because that was getting them stuck where they were at. They had to change their entire lens. And what I do during those 4 truths of life, I talk about, how life is actually oriented. And I talk about the 8 governing laws of expansion and abundance. One of the laws, the first law being like law of nonviolent growth. We aren't meant to force growth. We aren't meant to hustle and run ourselves into the ground for growth. In no other aspect of life do we see that. None. There is a little bit of push, like you stretch yourself, but in general, a tree doesn't have to like force itself to get up and go every day and grow these freaking leaves. It doesn't have to do that. That's not how nature is meant to work. Like it doesn't work like that in any aspect of life. And the reason why we tend to struggle and why we're stuck at certain money points is because we're trying to force instead of, and that's what we think. We think, well, that's how you get there, Tiani. And it's funny because as I teach these laws to my clients, it's so funny to watch them from the beginning to the end of the journey, they're like, that's not how it works, Tiani. And then like after a couple of weeks, they're like, it's working. It's working. It's working because they don't believe it. They don't believe it can be easier. They don't believe it can. And I'm teaching them that is how it works. Look at an airplane. Look at this. Look at that. And I break it down science wise because I don't like to just say random things. I show them, look, so then how come this works? How come when we do this, that happens? Why do blah, 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 blah? Here, look, let's look at science. Let's break it down. And it becomes a lot harder to refute when we start to break it down mechanically and see, oh, there are mechanics to abundance. And actually, we already know these mechanics. We do it everywhere else. Okay, got it. And then we allow ourselves to flow with it. So that if that goes to answer your question a little bit, I will say a lot of times we're not learning what those are. We don't know what those are. And of course, I don't know if I attached it to the links that I gave you guys, but I have like a little breakdown of each of the laws and stuff. So anybody who does book a call with me, I'll give them that for free because I don't think I attached it, but I attached the call to book a call. So if they want to hop on with me, I'll make sure that everybody gets one of those, but it breaks down those 8 laws and it shows you, oh yeah, that does make sense.
Say like, it's so great that we learned square roots in school. Like there's stuff in school that you leave and you're like, Deegan last year was like doing homework or something. He's like, when am I ever going to use this again? And I was like, never. But when
you have a kid and then you got to teach them how to do it. Yeah.
You just have to know it for the test and then you can forget it. Cause I promise it's never going to come up in life. I've never used it.
Really not. It's really not.
But this, like, I wish that because when you say like subconscious rewiring, in the back of my head, I'm laughing because I know that there are people who are listening who think we're like crazy and woo-woo. And it sounds like out there when you talk about it. And there are times I've even said to Chrissy, like, do we sound crazy when we talk about some of this stuff?
Probably.
But it's so true because it's not normalized.
It's not the norm.
It's not the norm. People are out there just surviving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just out there waiting, like stuck and wondering, like, what do I have to, like, first of all, there are people out there who are just living, who think that this is all there is. This is life. And then there's other people who are questioning, like, how do I get out of this? Like there has to be more. There has to be more. And I want to shout from the mountaintop, like, this is it. Your mindset and your understanding and the awareness that comes when you're able to like rewire your subconscious, like that's something you can actually do. And now when you like bring in the money aspect, it's like, this is so incredible for somebody to understand that, like, you're not just unlucky. You're not just dealt the short you know what I mean? Like people are like, well, I just, I'm the unlucky one out of the group, or I just, God doesn't love me. Like there's so many things that people are like, this is just my life. This is what I drew. I made bad choices. I did this and this is where I'm at. Right. And it's so refreshing and so just like energizing to know that like that's not it. We have to change our mindset on these things. We have to be open to understanding that you may have to learn something new. You may have to rewire subconscious. You have to do that. But because if you're willing to do that and you're willing to invest in growing yourself, and like you said, like not in a violent way, like just you're naturally supposed to be grow. If we're not growing, we're retreating. Like you're never just staying the same.
Right.
So I think I love this because I think it's super eye-opening to people who just get stuck in the daily rut of life, who struggle in that daily grind, who are living in that hustle culture of like, the only way I'm going to get ahead is if I work my bones more, which means taking more time. There's moms everywhere that are struggling with that. Like you talked about, it's either time and money or it's, with my kid, like you can't have it all.
You can't have it both. Right.
You can't have it all. But you can. There are, right? Like you can doing.
I appreciate how you said that. You were like, no, a lot of us feel like it is more of like, kind of like the haves and have nots. I wasn't dealt that hand. And I
Correct.
100%, I'm never one to downplay that. Like the oldest daughter that I was just talking about, when she was 6 weeks old, we ended up homeless, living inside of the car for the first 2 years of her life. She learned how to walk on that backseat of that Hyundai Elantra. And it was probably the hardest and darkest times of my entire life. I did not think I was going to make it. I slashed the shit out of my wrist. Like it was like with a box cutter. I was like, I'm done. I can't. It was not pretty. So I'm not at all here to gaslight somebody and be like, yeah, it's just all about your own whole mindset. And no, there were some of us who were dealt a certain deck. Like, just being honest, some of us were dealt a deck. Okay. And I'm not here to dismiss that. What I am here to say, and one of the laws of one of the 8 governing laws of abundance and expansion is law of hidden edge. So the law of hidden edge actually, and it pairs with law of generation, which is the mother of law of attraction. I talk about that too. But law of hidden edge is that every living organism has an advantage, has multiple systems of advantage built into itself. And I use like a sloth as an example. I'm like, how the hell are sloths still in existence? Why does a sloth exist when it has like 0 defense mechanisms? How could it be alive? I don't even understand. Like, my brain genuinely couldn't understand. How could a sloth be existent still to this day? Because it doesn't have anything going for it. Apparently, on the outside, it looks like it doesn't have a lot going for it. But I actually asked ChatGPT to tell me how come it's still alive. Like, tell me, break this down for me. And it basically explained that because of its slowness is actually its defense mechanism. So it moves so slowly that predators don't register it. It looks like a rock to the predators. It also moves so slowly that algae and moss and all types of stuff grow onto its fur and its back. So it blends into the background. Okay. So it moves that slowly. Also, because it moves so slowly, its metabolism moves tremendously slow. So it doesn't matter really where it's at. It doesn't need food. Doesn't need a lot of food, because it doesn't move very often. The calories out are very low. Calories in, calories out. Its calories out are very, very low, meaning that the calories coming in are very low. So all of these things make it to where, like, any other time you would be like, if I was like, yeah, you guys, Chrissy, you get to choose a superpower. You could be the sloth. You'd be like, what? Don't make me this. Why would I be a sloth? No, don't make me a sloth. Right? We would be like, how come I can't be a cheetah? How come I don't get to be a lion or something? I want to be something cool. Kangaroo even. Why would I be a sloth? What the fuck? Right? Like, you would not be excited about that. But because it would seem like there's nothing positive about this. I got dealt a shitty hand. That's what your head would tell you. But in reality, in real life, that's not necessarily true. It's utilizing whatever life has given you and using that to your advantage. This is how it pairs with law of generation. Law of generation stating that we're not attracting our outcomes, we're actually generating them. And so a lot of, and I mean, because you're generating them, you do attract them. But for the first level of that is generation. But a lot of the thing is that we have to utilize every single thing to our advantage. And we can. There's every single thing. If you've been struggling your whole life and you were dirt poor your whole life and your parents were abusive to you and you have trauma from A, B, and C, well, you're resilient as F. You are resourceful as hell. Like, you were able to make do with things that most people would be like, there's nothing to eat. Oh, no, there's a little bit of, there's 3 pieces of rice right there. There's right, like, and you would figure those things out because you had to. You have resourcefulness and creativity and innovation on your side. You have resilience on your side. When other people would have given up, you stayed alive and you figured out something to hold on to. That's resilience beyond belief. You also have creativity. You see life from a different state. Not only that, you also have things that most people want to know. If you make it out and you can do this, other people will pay you thousands of dollars to find out how did you do it, because they also are stuck. That's a hidden edge. So, like, utilizing everything that you have to your advantage. If you're short, that's cool, because now you know how to be able to do things that make you stand out even when you're short. Like, yeah, you're tall, but you know what I can do? I could fit under this little thingy and right there. And like, you've always had to think outside of the box because you can't reach the top shelf. So like, right. And like, for me, that's always my thing. My husband's 6'5" and I'm 5'4", and he's always like, you can't reach that. I'm like, well, stop putting it up there. And so for us, just always, for me, my brain has to work differently than his does because he has certain advantages. He could just knock the shit down from there. Oh, I just go like that. I can't do that. So I had to get really creative and innovative, and certain levels of willpower. Those are all on my side as my hidden edge. How can I use that to bust through the matrix? How can I use this to make sure that this does not be my future forever? Yep, that was my past, but I'm tired of this being my current reality. How do I use every single thing that looks like a disadvantage and turn it into an advantage? And that is the law of hidden edge.
A couple things. One is we don't know what we don't know. And so if we only know the struggle, if we only know the hard, we don't know life beyond that. Similar to what I said earlier, like, what is abundance? How do I even know what that means? But then also, it's like getting through the hard stuff, doing what you need to do, be able to get through it like you did. And if you don't mind me asking, it sounds like you were homeless for a couple of years with your little one, and you went through some very trying times. Amazing that you got through that, and you're who you are today. Kudos to you. And I'm sure, like what you just said, you could share your story and make thousands of dollars, because there are so many people that are experiencing something similar now, especially with the high cost of living and people being homeless or doubled up or really at their lowest point, and really like, what does life have to offer me? Why even bother? Like, how'd you get through that?
That's such a good question. It almost came down to almost like a piss or get off the pot type of feeling. It was more of like, all right, you keep complaining about how things are going, and that's not working. You can complain all day. Like, that's not helping anything. Either be okay with the fact that this is just your life. I had a few options. So like, for a little while, one of the options was just leave Earth entirely. That was a real option for me. I really didn't want to do it anymore. Really, really, really didn't want to do it. Most especially, like, I didn't want my kids to go through that. So like, I was like, man, I don't know what to do, because now there's a human here. So like, even if I leave Earth, now they're just extra doubly screwed. I didn't fix anything for them. They just got to deal with whatever I just left them with. So that original plan of just leave the whole planet, that wasn't really going to be very much of an option, because this little human who didn't ask to be here is here now. And that's not fair. That's not fair to them. All right, fine. All right. So I can't leave the planet. All right. Got it. So that was my first plan. I realized that was off the table. And then I thought, okay, it feels like life's not fair. Like, life is not fair. When do I get my break? Why do I see these stories about people, the triumphant stories of, we were like this, and then now we're millionaires? How do I see that all the time? But it feels like I can't even get like a decent job, like with a decent, boss who treats me like with dignity. Like, I can't do basic stuff. That felt like impossible to me. And so it felt like it just wasn't fair. But at a certain point, and I think I watched like the movie The Secret, and so I had seen like the idea of law of attraction and stuff. So that kind of took me out of that like victimhood. But also it was just like so what are you going to do about it? This was what I was talking about, the piss or get off the pot. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? Great. That sucks. It sucks. It really, really, really sucks. Life sucks right now. You got dealt a really bad hand. You didn't have the support systems in place. You weren't taught A, B, and C, this and this and this. And what are you going to do about it? Like, clearly people aren't coming to rescue you. So there's two options here. Accept it, suck it up, and just go like this for the rest of your life. Or say, hey, there's got to be a better way, and I'm on a mission to figure that out, no matter how much it takes. Those are the two. Like, I couldn't think of any other option, since my first plan A didn't work anymore. So like, I didn't have very many options left. Those were the two. I didn't want to just suck it up and deal with that for the rest of my life. Forever, amen. I was like, well, I don't want to. And don't get me wrong, it took a little while before I had really started to get, like, I would get really excited and trust that I could visualize, and then life would knock me down on my butt, and I would be like, why did I think that was possible? You're so stupid. That doesn't work for people like us. No, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of discouragement during that process of trying to make a different way or live a better way. But at the same time, I kept coming back to it. No matter what, I kept doing, okay, are you going to cry about it, or are you going to do something about it? And at some point in time, I just had to realize, I've got to figure it out. I don't know what that's going to look like. And I have a video. So like I said, all the audience, whoever, you too, it's super cool. Feel free to book a call because I have like all these free trainings and stuff I would love to give you guys. But one of my trainings is called How I Manifested a 3-Bedroom House with Shit Credit, No Money Down, and a Drug Dealer Roommate. And it's quite interesting. But it was how we got a 3-bedroom house from us living in the car. We went from living in the car to being on the street to then being in a 3-bedroom house, no money down, terrible credit, all the things, and how I got there. And it was basically, I just used every little thing that it was a law of hidden edge. I didn't realize I was doing it. Everything life gave me, I turned it into a slightly more of life. And I was like, well, I don't have a lot, but I got this. I don't have a lot, but I've got this. And I just kept trading up and trading up and trading up and trading up all the way through. And I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but that is pretty much what abundance is.
Literal goosebumps. Like, you gave me goosebumps. Your story is just, you brought me to tears. It's so inspiring. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I didn't even think that this was like a part, like I didn't even know this about your story. Like we're having the Wild Hypno Lady come on, and now Christy and I are crying. And you literally used from a mom who had thoughts of like ending her life to now helping women. And this is the power of a testimony. This is the power of using a shit hand. Cause like you said, we're not naive to that. Some people are born and raised in difficult situations, but that doesn't mean it has to be the end of your story. Like you
100%.
get to decide what you're going to do with it. You get to break the cycles. We talk about this all the time. You get to be the one who decides what kind of childhood your kids are going to grow up in, what kind of mindset work they're going to have, an understanding of how their mental health is so important. So we appreciate you sharing your story with us because there's so many people that can relate to this exact struggle. Money truly does create some thoughts of, can I do this or not? What do I have? And I have, it keeps people stuck in like, this is it. This is all I have. I'm not worthy of more. I don't even know how to have more.
Right. Absolutely. And it's understandable. It's understandable if we've never seen it. It feels really impossible. So I remember a couple years back, I ended up on this game show called $100,000 Pyramid. And I was so excited when I got selected. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Just that too, Where it's like you get to play and like with celebrities. So like your teammate is a celebrity, which is really, really cool. So I got one of my teammates was like the guy from Sopranos. It was like really awesome. It was like really cool and everything. I had just gave birth. I literally it wasn't even a week since I had gave birth and I had to drive all the way to Los Angeles. It was crazy. Anyways, so when I went to go do that, I remember, so this was well before I had went into the abundance niche and before I had really unlocked that next level of abundance. I had certain levels of abundance, but not a bunch. We weren't still homeless, obviously, but like there were certain things of abundance, but not like a ton. And so I remember calling my cousin and being like, I'm so nervous. I'm almost scared to win the money. I'm scared if I win the money, what would that, I don't even know what I would do with it. I was actually more scared of winning the money than I was of not winning. And I didn't win the money. And like now I'm like, I need to apply for another one because now I got the abundance on my side. Now I know I got the whole thing in terms of that, like the abundance mindset now. And I'm like, ooh, what game show am I going to apply to next? I'm excited. But it was really that same thing. Like you said, it was scary for me to break into a income bracket. If I won $100,000, what does that mean about me and my whole identity? What does that mean? Am I the type of person who can handle $100,000? Am I deserving of $100,000? Would I squander the $100,000? Where would I even go with it? What would I even do with it? You're not the type of girl who gets that type of money. There was so much in my head. And it probably is the reason why I didn't win. It probably was. I mean, I played my ass off. I did a good ass job. And you guys can watch the episode. It's on Hulu. It's cool. I'm on Hulu, y'all.
Whoa. Pause. What's it called?
So I have to send you the exact link to the name and everything, but it's called $100,000 Pyramid. So it's like $100,000 with a little sign, pyramid. And the host is Michael Strahan. He's the Hall of Fame football player guy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, from Michael and Kelly. Yeah, him. And so he's the host. Everything. It's on ABC and everything. It's a real game show, like not like some YouTube Temu version. It's like really like I am legit on Hulu, you guys. Like it is really cool.
That's so cool. As Jess said, we're gonna have to have you back. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm
I
like,
feel
wait
we
a
have so
second, we
much to
can't
talk
end this. We need to just go through her life story. Like
So then what
business
happened?
aside, I want more of these. Like
Yeah.
this is so wild. Chrissy, did you hear her say? So Chrissy and I learned that you can either accept it, change it, or
Yeah.
stay miserable.
Oof.
Like you
Yeah.
have 3 options.
Yep.
And when you were talking about the 2 options, like you can either accept it or you can change it. And I was like, yes, like this is your options. You can either choose to be okay because you can't keep complaining about it.
It's gonna
You can either
change.
stay miserable.
Right.
You can accept it and be at peace with it,
Yeah.
or you can change it.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I was way more worried that I would win the money than I was actually losing the money. I know what it's like to be broke. That wasn't scary to me. I was like, yeah, I
That
got
was your norm.
yeah. There was nothing scary about that to me. The scary part was, can I be the person who can steward and hold and receive $100,000 and all the stories about who I am and what I'm allowed to have access to. And that fear was actually way scarier. Making the money. And I know that sounds so silly. That sounds silly because everybody else will be like, give it to me. I got it. I'll go on the game show, Tiani. I'll go for you because I'm not afraid to lose that money. I wasn't either until I got into the spot. That's why I applied for the show. I applied for the show, all the stuff.
I think that, so I don't think it's a silly question or mindset at all, because there's women that I've worked with who genuinely fear like starting a side business. Okay, if I make a little money, then I'm going to get too much where then I'm going to lose my benefits of if a mom's on food stamps, if a mom's receiving some kind of help. It's a genuine fear. Like, okay, but so if I do make this money, something's bound to go wrong. And then
so I won't be able to keep it up. And now I don't qualify for the benefits, but I have to keep it up, but I don't know if I can actually keep that up. Right.
Right.
100%.
So
I did go through that. I went through that too with my business as well. Luckily, I live in the US. So what I was able to do, so I don't know what state everybody's in, but what I was able to do was run my business through my LLC. So technically, until my business was making enough money to actually pay me, I didn't receive any income. My business received slight income. And maybe if that money was qualifying as my personal income, then maybe, I might not qualify for the benefits anymore. But at the time, that's not my money. That's my business's money because I had an LLC. It actually did not qualify as my own money. So I still actually qualified for benefits, even when my business was starting to try to, and it was up and down for a little while. Like I made some money and then I would be like back to zero for hella months, right? And so I couldn't yet claim any of that because my business was technically not profitable enough to actually pay me as the actual person. So Tiani wasn't receiving anything. I still had no income. And so that was actually how I was able to work that out. And to talk to your tax people. I'm not getting nobody in trouble.
Yeah.
But that was a big fear for me. That's a good point. That's a huge fear. And it's very valid. If your kids rely on you to ensure that they have health insurance and food every month and possible cash assistance, we don't want that to go away because you made a little bit of money one month, but we haven't replicated it enough to actually bet our house on this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All good stuff. All good stuff. And because we talked about self-harm and suicide, or suicidal ideations, I should say, I just want to put a plug out there for 988. It's the lifeline. It's the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline for those that might be facing mental health challenges, emotional distress, you name it. If you are struggling or if you know someone else that is struggling, you can call or text that number.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. It is, because I don't think that number existed up until recently, right? I remember when they started really showing people and telling people about it. So yeah, absolutely. It can be really difficult. And especially as women, one of the things that I know a lot of us deal with is the hormonal aspects of everything on top of it all. So like postpartum and all the stuff, things can get really rocky and shaky. So definitely utilizing the 988 number for sure.
And if you know someone, doing it on their behalf, if they can't do it for themselves, is important. See something, say something. It's my
I love
my
that
mantra.
Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us on Mom, Fuel, and Mindset. If today's conversation spoke to you, take it as your reminder that happy moms don't come from doing more. They come from choosing themselves and owning their growth.
And if you loved this episode, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another mom who needs a little fuel and a mindset shift today.
Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, keep growing forward, and remember, happy moms own their growth.
See you soon.